A trace of embarrassment flashed across Fan Jiquin's face as he roared, "You little brat, what do you know? This is called assessing the situation. Don't look at how you've brought some people over. You're just a motley crew and aren't a match for the Yen clan at all. I advise you to surrender as soon as possible, or else all of you will die." Yun Chujio snapped her fingers, and the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance behind her immediately let out a deafening slogan once again. Freelance Martial Artist Alliance specializes in killing the Yen clan. Little Chief Jio, you're invincible in the world. Did you hear that? This is our answer. The Yen clan? Let's not talk about anything else. Just look at the way the Yen characters are written. A clan that even ghosts detest, yet they still dare to lick their faces and invade our human clan? They are simply shameless. Yun Chujio pouted and said. The young master of the Yen clan was so angry that his face was contorted. They had always been proud of being a member of the Yen clan, but after hearing this stinky girl's words, for a moment, he felt that as a member of the Yen clan, how could they be so unlucky? Stinky girl, stop talking nonsense. Do you dare to fight me alone? The young master of the Yen clan thought very simply, it was a piece of cake for him to deal with this darn girl. As long as he killed this darn girl, the rest of the people wouldn't be worth mentioning. I don't dare, a certain Jio said confidently. The young master of the nightmare race, heavens, where did this weirdo come from? Didn't they say that the human race cared a lot about face? How could there be such a shameless person? The young master of the nightmare race said with disdain, as the leader of the Loose Cultivator Alliance, you actually don't even dare to agree to my challenge. I even feel that it's not worth it for you Loose Cultivator Alliance people. Are you willing to be led by such a coward? Fuck your fucking bullshit. Is our alliance leader cowardly? This is called disdain. It's really scary to be uncultured. Right? Our little 9 alliance leader is invincible in the world, so why would he be afraid of you, a shitty nightmare race scum? Our little 9 alliance leader doesn't even need to do it himself. You guys will die if we casually talk about it. That's right, our little 9 alliance leader is calling this strategy. What do you know about it? Besides, our little 9 alliance leader has a noble status. Why would he fight with a scum like you that even ghosts hate? And Lin Chuan and Shangguan Hao looked at each other. Damn, so the entire Freelance Martial Artist Alliance was this Lung Little Nine's brainless fan? They had learned the term brainless fan from Yun Chujio. They felt that it was too appropriate to describe the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance. The young master of the nightmare race. Had the intelligence of the human race deteriorated to this extent? Could it be that they didn't even have the basic ability to differentiate? The young master of the Yen clan gritted his teeth in anger and waved his hand. Kill. Leave no one alive. Yun Chujio curled her lips. Little ones, put on your secret weapons and kill them all. Let these scums see how powerful our Loose Cultivator Alliance is. And Lin Chuan and Shangguan Hao were extremely curious. Secret weapons? What secret weapons? When they saw the gas masks on the faces of the Loose Cultivator Alliance, they were instantly dumbfounded. Wasn't this the gas masks that junior sister Little 9 had specially developed? However, now was clearly not the time to ask questions. The two of them also had such protective gas masks in their storage rings. They hurriedly took them out and wore them on their faces, then charged towards the nightmare race. The nightmare race people were dumbfounded. What the hell was this thing that these Loose Cultivator Alliance wore on their faces? It looked like a mask, but they had never heard of a mask made of cloth. Soon, the people of the nightmare race knew the purpose of this strange-looking thing. They found that the people of the Loose Cultivator Alliance were actually not afraid of the nightmare chi they released. The people of the Alliance army were immediately confident when they saw the situation. They began to fight against the Nightmare clan together with the Alliance of Itinerant Cultivators. As for Hei Shinjio, she was standing behind a small slope and stretching her neck as she shouted, "Good kill! Good kill! You killed the Nightmare clan so badly. Brothers of the Alliance of Itinerant Cultivators, I have high hopes for you. Put in more effort. Allies of the Alliance, you can't be inferior to the Alliance of Itinerant Cultivators, right? Bring out your strength. I have high hopes for you too. The young master of the nightmare race was already distraught. When he heard Hei Xinjius shout, he was so angry that he smashed the mound into pieces with his palm. Hei Xinjiu had long dodged and said with a smile, "Yo, don't you have a bad eye? I'm right here. Come and kill me if you have the ability." The young master of the nightmare race hated this stupid girl who came out of nowhere. He ignored the others and rushed to Yun Chujio. "Io, you really want to kill me? Do you think I'm stupid enough to wait for death here? Sorry, I have something to do. See you later." Hei Xinjiu said and ran away. The young master of the nightmare race was dumbfounded. He had fought many battles, big and small, but he had never met such a commander. Wasn't she afraid that her running away would cause the morale of the army to be scattered? However, it was obvious that his worries were unnecessary. Those people from the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance were all blind as they turned a blind eye to their alliance masters running away. Instead, they were even more motivated to fight the enemy bravely. What the hell? Seeing that Yun Chujio had already run away, the crown prince of the nightmare race snorted coldly and turned around to continue joining the battle. Not long after, Hei Xinjiu ran back with her head lowered. "Hey, that bastard of the nightmare race, if you have the ability, come and kill your grandmother." Hei Xinjiu placed her hands on her waist and shouted with a smile. The crown prince of the nightmare race was so angry that he jumped up and down again towards Yun Chujio. However, Hei Xinjiu disappeared again with a whoosh. After several times, the crown prince of the nightmare race was so angry that he chased after Yun Chujio all the way. Hei Xinjiu provoked him as she ran. He stole a glance and saw the crown prince of the nightmare race chasing after her. He was proud of himself. Regardless of whether it was the nightmare race or the demon race, he had to run into the ambush when he met her. Hei Xinjiu suddenly stopped running and said with a smile, "Are you stupid? Don't you know that this is called luring the enemy in? Don't you know that this is called going in alone? You idiot." The nightmare race's crown prince's heart tightened. Only then did he realize that he had already run more than 10 miles in one breath. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, more than 100 people rushed out from the surrounding bushes and surrounded him. A certain Jiu changed her cheeky smile from before. She stared at the nightmare race's crown prince with a fierce gaze and waved her hand. "Kill!" The people of the Loose Cultivator Alliance immediately roared with killing intent. They had originally thought that lying in ambush here was simply unnecessary. They had not expected that their little ninth chief was simply a god. He had actually caught a big fish. The crown prince of the nightmare race. Heavens, if they killed the crown prince of the nightmare race, they would be the meritorious officers of the immortal Essence Continent in the future. The people of the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance instantly seemed to have been injected with stimulants as they howled and charged towards the crown prince of the nightmare race. The crown prince of the nightmare race was practically regretting his actions. He felt that humans were fools who took things for granted. Otherwise, their nightmare race would not have easily obtained a great victory the last time. This time, they had made thorough preparations and taken the yellow mud mound by surprise as a breakthrough point. It was supposed to be a foolproof operation, so how could such a bad thing suddenly appear in the middle of it? Just as the crown prince of the nightmare clan was pondering, he heard Hei Xinjiu shouting beside him with a smile, "Hey, son of a bitch! Are you wondering how we knew that you were using the yellow mud mound as a breakthrough point? Let me tell you the truth. I can calculate and observe the stars at night. I can calculate it all at once. Don't worry, there's no mole in your team. We're humans, how could there be a mole in the nightmare race? There really isn't." The nightmare race's crown prince's heart tightened. This wretched girl was full of schemes. The more she said there was no mole, the more it meant that there was a mole. No wonder this operation was so secretive and was even discovered by the humans. It turned out that there was a mole. When he returns, we must investigate thoroughly. Although the crown prince's spiritual power was superb, Hei Xinjiu had arranged for nearly 100 people to gang up on him here. No matter how powerful he was still not a match for her. However, when the crown prince of the nightmare race discovered that something was wrong, he had already used the secret technique of the nightmare race to ask for help. Therefore, very soon, a member of the nightmare race brought a nightmare beast over to rescue the crown prince of the nightmare race. Wretched girl, don't be complacent. Our army has probably passed through the yellow mud pass by now. When the army arrives, all of you will die. The crown prince of the nightmare race said in a flustered and exasperated manner. Yun Chujio said exaggeratedly, I'm so scared. Doesn't your nightmare clan have a special means of communication? Then why don't you ask how your army is doing? When the nightmare clan's crown prince heard Yun Chujio say this, his heart skipped a beat. He hurriedly contacted the commander of the nightmare clan's army. Within his spiritual sense, the voice of the nightmare clan's commander-in-chief's flustered and exasperated voice was quickly transmitted over, Crown Prince. Our people had already passed through the yellow mud swamp. Just as we were about to climb up the mountain, a swarm of poisonous bees flew over from who knows where. There were also densely packed red ants on the ground, causing our people and nightmare beasts to fall to the ground one after another. Now, we have only attacked halfway up the mountain. A miserable cry came from the other end. It was estimated that the leading general had most likely been attacked by poisonous bees or red ants. The Nightmare Clan crown prince's head buzzed. There were almost no demonic insects in the vast desert. How could there be a large swarm of poisonous bees and red ants for no reason? Could it be related to this smelly girl in front of him? The Nightmare Clan crown prince shook his head again. Impossible, this must be a coincidence. Not to mention humans, even the Nightmare Clan and the Demon Clan alone were unable to subdue so many demonic insects. Moreover, if they wanted the demonic insects to recognize their master, they could only subdue the eggs. So many demonic insects could not be produced in a short period of time. This darn girl was not old, so it was impossible. Just as the Nightmare Race Crown Prince was in a state of bewilderment, a battle cry came from afar. His heart tightened. The human race must have sent reinforcements. The tide had already turned. The Crown Prince of the Nightmare Race gritted his teeth. There was still plenty of time in the future, so it was more important to preserve his strength. He waved his hand. Retreat. Yun Chujio led her men and symbolically chased after them for a while. Only after they had chased the Crown Prince of the Nightmare Race and the others out of the yellow swamp did they call for a retreat. It was only at this moment that the allied army's reinforcements arrived. The battle cry that the Crown Prince of the Nightmare Race had heard earlier was just a feint arranged by a certain Geo. This fellow did not have any delusions of actually being able to kill the Crown Prince of the Nightmare Race. This was only the first battle. It was just a small test of strength. Take it slow. There was no rush. Moreover, they had few people and were weak. If they really fought, they might not be a match for the Crown Prince of the Nightmare Race. This time, they had only been able to win by relying on their little tricks. Stopping when things were good. This was one of the secrets that a certain Geo had kept for a long time. When the Alliance army received the news of the Yen clan's surprise attack on the yellow mud mound, they immediately turned pale with fright. Because the yellow mud mound was easy to defend but hard to attack, the Alliance army only sent less than 800 men to defend it. Moreover, their spiritual power was on the low side. Once the Yen clan broke through the yellow mud mound, the consequences would be unimaginable. The head of the Fan family was even more anxious. His son and grandson were all stationed at the yellow mud mound. If something happened, he didn't want to live anymore. Hence, the head of the Fan family took the initiative to request for reinforcements to the yellow mud mound. Alliance Master Yen nodded in agreement and sent Mountain Master Zhua, Elder Jing, and the others along with 5,000 Alliance troops to rush to the yellow mud mound. From afar, they could see that the entrance to the yellow mud mound was brightly lit and there were even cheers. Everyone's hearts sank. Could it be that the Nightmare Race had already broken through the yellow mud mound? When everyone rushed to the vicinity of the yellow mud mound, they realized that the large flag on it was the flag of the Alliance army, and they immediately heaved a sigh of relief. The head of the Fan family wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said, "It seems that although my son is usually a little out of place, he can still do it at the crucial moment." I originally thought that he wouldn't be able to withstand the Nightmare Race's large-scale attack with less than 800 Alliance army troops. I didn't expect that he would actually be able to defend it. This really makes me feel gratified. Hearing what the head of the Fan family said, someone chimed in, the head of the Fan family is too modest. Hero Fan usually hides his strength well. Luckily, Hero Fan is guarding the yellow mud mound. If it were anyone else, they would have been conquered by the Nightmare Clan long ago. That's right. I heard that the grandson of the head of the Fan family, young Master Ming Chuan, is also guarding the yellow mud mound. Father and son are guarding the same pass and have made great contributions. It can be said to be a good story. When the head of the Fan family heard everyone's flattery, he felt proud in his heart. However, he said, everyone is overpraising me. Ji Chuan and Ming Chuan are members of the Immortal Essence Continent. It is their duty to guard the yellow mud mound with their lives. Our Fan family's family motto has also always emphasized that although cultivation is important, it is more important to be a person. Before they came to guard the yellow mud mound, I specially raised their heads and ordered them to guard the yellow mud mound with their lives. They are at the pass and must not retreat. When the crowd heard what the head of the Fan family said, they immediately flattered him. Elder Jing really didn't like the head of the Fan family's boasting. However, Fan Jichuan and his son were able to guard the yellow mud mound because of a miracle, so he didn't say anything. When the Allied army arrived at the foot of the yellow mud mound, the yellow mud mound guards on duty quickly came over to greet them. The head of the Fan family noticed that the yellow mud mound guards were looking at him with a strange expression, and he felt pleased. He reckoned that these guards had been convinced by the succession rites and Ming Chuan's heroic actions, which was why they were looking at him with such adoration. The head of the Fan family coughed and said, "Your performance this time was very heroic. The Alliance army will give you commendations and rewards. Where is your commander-in-chief?" A small general stationed at the yellow mud mound pointed at the peak of the yellow mud mound. "The commander is on the mountain, in case the Nightmare Clan attacks again." The head of the Fan family nodded, then turned to Mountain Master Zhua and the others and said, "The succession has indeed improved. It seems that the strict discipline that this old man has been giving him has been effective." The expressions of those stationed at the yellow mud mound were as if they were constipated. Improved? Strict discipline? Those two scum of your Fan clan had already joined the Yen clan, yet you were still licking your face and bragging here? Truly shameless. The head of the Fan clan was immersed in glory and did not notice the abnormal expressions of the garrison troops. However, Mountain Master Zhua and the others noticed it and muttered in their hearts, could there be some hidden reason behind this? Mountain Master Zhua didn't continue the conversation with the head of the Fan family. Instead, he said, "Head of the Fan family, let's go up and take a look at the situation first." The head of the Fan family was quite dissatisfied with Mountain Master Zhua's interruption of his bragging. However, thinking about it, Fan Jichuan and Fan Mingchuan had made a great contribution this time. There would be plenty of opportunities to brag in the future, so it wouldn't be too late. Thus, he nodded and led a portion of the Alliance army to climb up the mountain peak. When the head of the Fan clan and the others reached the mountain peak, they discovered that many of them were members of the Alliance of Itinerant Cultivators. A little girl was standing on a large rock and lecturing. "That's right, this battle has brought out the glory of our Alliance of Itinerant Cultivators. This battle has brought out the iron bones of our Immortal Essence Cultivators. Now, all of you, open your eyes wide and stare at those scum from the Nightmare Race. Don't let them have any chance to take advantage of this. When the Allied army sends reinforcements, we can successfully retreat and hide our achievements and fame." Everyone was stunned. Leng Xiaojiu? Why was she and the people from the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance here? Shouldn't they be stationed at the Gust of Wind? The head of the Fan family thought about it and felt that he understood the ins and outs of the matter. The blast was relatively close to the yellow mud mound, so Jichuan sent people to ask for help from the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance. That was why Leng Xiaojiu sent people over. Thinking of this, the head of the Fan family's face suddenly darkened. This Leng Xiaojiu was really something. It was clearly his son and grandson who had sworn to guard the yellow mud mound to the death. When they were almost done guarding it, she, Leng Xiaojiu, had come to take advantage of it, and now she was still spouting nonsense. What a scoundrel! Thinking of this, the head of the Fan family snorted coldly. Alliance leader Leng, although you have contributed a lot by coming over to help defend the yellow mud mound, isn't it a little too much? Where are Jichuan and Ming Chuan? Yun Chujio looked at the head of the Fan family with a faint smile. A little too much? Head of the Fan family, don't you think it's a little rash to jump to a conclusion without asking what happened? I don't need to ask to know what happened. It's nothing more than Jechuan calling for help from your loose cultivator alliance after he found out that the Nightmare clan had used the yellow mud mound as a breakthrough point. However, the gust of wind was a full 100 li away from the yellow mud mound. By the time you arrived, Jechuan had already held on for more than an hour. Your arrival was just icing on the cake. Even without the help of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance, the succession could still last until the arrival of reinforcements like us. Didn't you say that you took away the credit of our Alliance army? The head of the Fan family said in disdain. Did this Leng Xiaojiu really take him seriously? He was overestimating himself. What the head of the Fan family said makes sense. However, when we arrived, the yellow mud mound had already been lost. This yellow mud mound was taken back by our unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance. As for Lord Fan and young Master Fan Yun Chujio curled the corners of her lips and said, this guy was really mean. He could have directly said that Fan Jichuan and Fan Mingchuan had defected, but he had to beat around the bush. Because this guy felt that only by slapping his face like this would he feel good. He liked to see arrogant fools slapping their faces the most. The head of the Fan family's heart sank, and he cried out in surprise, how are Jichuan and the others? Could it be that they've been sacrificed? They didn't die. They are still alive. However, Master Fan and young Master Fan have done some unexpected things. I believe that the head of the Fan family will be very interested in them. The head of the Fan family's heart skipped a beat. What did they do? It's not a big deal. They just joined the Yen clan, Hei Shinjio said faintly. Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. Instantly, everyone present fell into a strange silence. Defecting to the Nightmare clan? Wouldn't that mean that they had defected? Fan Jichuan and Fan Mingchuan had defected? The head of the Fan clan was stunned at first, then he shouted in exasperation, nonsense! You're slandering! How could Jichuan and Mingchuan have defected to the Nightmare clan? You must be jealous of their contributions, so you framed them. Where are Jichuan and Mingchuan? Where did you hide them? Yun Chujio smiled faintly. Slander? Come, head of the Fan family, listen carefully to what Lord Fan said just now. It really makes one's eyes light up. Fan Jiquan's voice came from the recording stone. Young master, we, father and son, surrender. From now on, we will be at your disposal. Don't worry, I will think of a way to persuade my father to surrender. Our Fan family is a super aristocratic family. With our help, the Yen family will definitely be able to recover the immortal essence continent faster. The head of the Fan family buzzed. Yun Chujio continued with a smile. Head of the Fan family, Fan Jichuan still wants to persuade you to surrender too. Furthermore, the crown prince of the Yen family has agreed to Fan Jichuan. In the future, when the Yen family takes over the immortal essence continent, your Fan family and the Yen family's aristocrats will enjoy the same treatment. It's really enviable. You're spouting nonsense. This recording stone is fake. It's all fake. The head of the Fan clan actually already believed 80% of it in his heart, but he still retained a trace of fantasy. Yun Chujio laughed lightly. Fake? The head of the Fan clan's explanation was really novel. Since you think that the recording stone is fake, then listen to what the Yellow Mud Mound Garrison says. You can randomly choose a few people to ask, in case they say that I'm fake again. The head of the Fan family's voice was almost trembling as he picked a few garrison of the Yellow Mud Mound. Those garrison troops hated the Fan family father and son to death. If it wasn't for the unaffiliated cultivator alliance rushing over, none of them would have survived. Therefore, he immediately recounted the actions of the Fan family father and son, as well as the incident where Fan Jichuan indulged in women and didn't do anything serious. The head of the Fan family's head was buzzing. If not for his strong spiritual power, he would have passed out long ago. Yun Chujio felt that it was about time, so she snapped her fingers and her subordinates brought the father and son of the Fan family who were locked up in a secret place over. Fan Mingxuan's eyes flickered. He had already thought of an excuse, but now that he saw the head of the Fan family, he immediately burst into tears. "Grandfather! Grandfather! I have a favor to report. I don't really want to join the Yen clan. It's just that my father is obsessed with joining the Yen clan. I'm afraid that he will cause a great disaster, so I pretended to join the Yen clan. I thought that I could persuade him to change his mind. Moreover, I've infiltrated the Yen clan, and I can even be an insider for the human clan." Yun Chujio burst into laughter. "An insider? You speak as if it's true. If you are taken away by the Yen clan, they will immediately use a secret technique to make you into their slaves. If you have any other thoughts, the Yen clan will know about it. How can you be an insider? It's fine if you are afraid of death, but you actually used your own father to clear your name. How shameless!" Fan Mingxuan's face was flushed red as he said angrily, You are slandering me." As Fan Mingxuan said this, his body slanted and he fainted. Yun Chujio curled her lips. It was really a family tradition. Yi Xinwan would pretend to faint for no reason. This Fan Mingxuan actually did this too. Did he think that everyone present was a fool? Yun Chujio was too lazy to expose him. She said to Mountain Master Zhua and the others, "Everyone, I believe that all of you have heard the matter clearly. Not only did the Fan father and son leave their post without permission, but they also joined the Nightmare Clan. This is truly a heinous crime. As for how to deal with this matter, it is not up to us, the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance. Since your reinforcements have arrived, we will withdraw to the Fiend Wind Gap and stand guard. Farewell." Alliance Master Leng, your unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance has made a great contribution this time. Can you pass on your experience to our Alliance army? Can you follow me to see Alliance Master Yen and tell him the details? Mountain Master Zhua said politely. He had thought that this Leng Xiaojiu was young and frivolous, but he did not expect that he really had some skills. If the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance had not arrived in time, the consequences this time would have been unimaginable. Of course, I can also watch how Alliance Master Yen will deal with the Fan father and son. TSK. A super aristocratic family like the Fan family actually produced two traitors. It really makes one sigh. Hei Xinjiu never showed mercy to her enemies. Moreover, the Fan father and son were such spineless people, they deserved to die. The head of the Fan family cast a cold glance at Yun Chujio, his heart filled with anger at Fan Jichuan and Fan Mingxuan's stupidity, as well as hatred for Yun Chujio's persistence. Hei Xinjiu would never swallow her anger. She immediately sneered and said, "Head of the Fan family, why are you glaring at me? It's not like I'm the one who asked your son and grandson to submit to the Yen clan. If you want to blame someone, then blame yourself for not teaching them well. It's fine if this person's spiritual power is lower, but if his quality is bad, TSK, then there's really no hope." The head of the Fan family wished he could strangle this bad news bag to death. Just as he was about to say something, he heard Yun Chujio continue, "Head of the Fan family, you should actually thank me. If I had not come in time, your sons and grandsons would have really become slaves of the Yen clan. When that time comes, what would you do? Perhaps for the sake of your sons and grandsons' lives, you would have joined the Yen clan. When that time comes, how would you have the face to meet your ancestors of the Fan family? Therefore, I am the benefactor of your Fan family. Now, not only are you not thanking me, you are even hating me. This is simply repaying kindness with enmity. What the hell? Thank you?" The head of the Fan family spat out a mouthful of blood. In his heart, he hated Yun Chujio. There was still time, and sooner or later he would kill this brat. However, what the head of the Fan family was most worried about was how to save his son and grandson's lives. Betrayal was a huge crime, especially after Fan Jichuan said those words in front of everyone. When everyone arrived at the Alliance Army's meeting tent, the sky was already beginning to brighten. After Alliance Master Yen learned what had happened, he praised Yun Chujio and the Loose Cultivator Alliance. He also specifically asked about the method of making gas masks, so that the Alliance Army could learn from him and quickly make a batch. As for the matter of the desert poisonous wasps and the big red ant, Hei Shinjio naturally would not say that she was the one who put them there. The fellow said with a smile, "The desert poisonous bees and the giant fire ants are the demonic insects of the immortal essence continent. They naturally have to help us. This might be the will of heaven." Lai Yen said no one could think of any other possibility, so they agreed with Yun Chujia's statement. In the end, it was the father and son of the Fan family's turn to deal with the problem. The head of the Fan family said with tears in his eyes, "Alliance Master Yen, everyone, according to the military rules, these two evil creatures should be executed. But everyone, on account of my face, on account of the dozens of people who died in our Fan family last time, can you spare their lives? If they are lucky enough to survive, our Fan family is willing to donate 1 billion high-grade spirit stones to the Alliance Army as military expenses. Please show mercy, Alliance Master Yen and everyone." Yun Chujio curled her lips at the side. 1 billion? This old thing was quite willing, but it was also true. No matter how good the money was, it was not as important as the lives of his son and grandson. Alliance Master Yen was in a difficult position. Treason was a serious crime and should be punished. However, he could not disregard the face of the Fan family head. Moreover, 1 billion high-grade spirit stones was not a small amount. Now was the time for the Alliance Army to use money. Alliance Master Yen pondered for a while and then asked for the opinions of the others in the meeting tent. Everyone had different opinions. Some were inclined to kill the father and son of the Fan family to establish military might, some were pleading for the father and son of the Fan family, and some were silent. They had no choice but to raise their hands to vote in the end. In the end, the result was 10 to 10, which meant that half of the people agreed to kill the father and son of the Fan family, and the other half agreed that the head of the Fan family would use money to buy his life. Alliance Master Yen was confused. What should they do with this draw? At this moment, Hei Shinjio said, "Alliance Master Yen, I haven't voted yet." The crowd was stunned. They then realized that Leng Xiaojio had been sitting on the stool to watch the show and had not raised his hand to vote. If it were before today, this guy's words would not have any weight, and perhaps he would not even have the right to vote. However, things were different now. The unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance had made a great contribution. If it wasn't for this Leng Xiaojio, they wouldn't be able to sit here peacefully. They would have been badly beaten by the Yen clan long ago. Alliance Master Yen said politely, "Alliance Master Leng, since you didn't vote just now, do you prefer to kill the Fan father and son or spare them?" Yun Chujio said with a smile, "It depends on the sincerity of the Fan family." After saying that, Hei Shinjio looked at the Fan family's master with a smile and didn't continue. The people in the meeting tent didn't realize what she meant. What did she mean by the sincerity of the Fan family's master? The Fan family's master was also dumbfounded. Although he hated Yun Chujio to death, his son and grandson's lives were in her hands now. He could only swallow his anger and ask, "Alliance Master Leng, what do you mean by sincerity?" Hei Shinjio tossed a spiritual stone in her hand and curled her lips, saying, "He, head of the Fan family, our brothers in the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance have gone through a lot of trouble to clean up your son and grandson's mess. Some of our brothers are even seriously injured. Don't you think that the Fan family should express their gratitude?" Everyone. This little girl was not the leader of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance. She was simply a bandit leader. What was the difference between this and an open robbery? Wasn't she clearly trying to blackmail the leader of the Fan family? The leader of the Fan family almost spat out another mouthful of blood. He gritted his teeth and asked, "How much do you want?" Hei Shinjio counted with her fingers and said, There are 3,628 people in the Unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance. Each of us has 100,000 high-grade spiritual stones, which is a total of 336,280,000. They'll give you a 99,811 discount. If you round it up, you can just give me 400 million spiritual stones. The head of the Fan family was so angry that he almost fainted. 400 million spiritual stones? You really dare to ask for it. He only gave 1 billion high-grade spiritual stones to the coalition army, but this brat actually wanted to extort 400 million high-grade spiritual stones from him? Besides, shouldn't it be 300 million? Why was it 400 million? Did she not know how to count? Just as the head of the Fan family was about to refuse, he heard Hei Shinjio say with a smile, "Head of the Fan family, don't you think it's a little expensive?" "Let me tell you, it's not expensive. Don't forget that I have the recording stone that Fan Jichuan spouted nonsense with. If you don't give me money, I will choose a place with more people to put it. By then your Fan family will be famous." The head of the Fan family gritted his teeth and said, Good. Lead Master Lung is indeed courageous and knowledgeable. I admire you. You flatter me, head of the Fan family. Come, don't waste time. Give me the spiritual stone first. I will raise my hand immediately. I will give you the money and the goods. Hei Shinjio said with a smile. The head of the Fan family was practically trembling as he transferred 400 million upper-grade spirit stones to Yun Chujio. Half of it was because of heartache, and the other half was because of anger. Hei Shinjio accepted the spirit stones. She immediately raised her claws and said, "Alliance Master Yen, I agree not to kill the Fan family's father and son. After all, although their hearts are extremely evil, due to Junior's timely obstruction, they haven't had the time to do anything harmful to the immortal Essence Continent. However, this kind of character is indeed not that good. Everyone, it's best not to have any dealings with them in the future." The Fan family head choked and immediately fainted from anger. "You are simply too despicable. After taking 400 million upper-grade spirit stones from him, you actually still want to step on him in the end. This is too wicked." The corners of Alliance Master Yan's eyes twitched for a moment, and he hurriedly got someone to wake up the Fan family head, and then began to discuss serious matters. Although the Yen clan didn't succeed this time, it also woke us up. The Yen clan has many tricks up their sleeves. Everyone must be on guard. Alliance Master Yen said a lot of things. The main idea was to get everyone to be on high alert, and to quickly make the kind of gas mask that Yun Chujio provided, and finally announce the end of the meeting. Yun Chujio walked out of the meeting tent with a smile. And Lin Chuan and Shang Guanhao were waiting outside, almost impatiently dragging her to the side. "Are you Junior Sister Xiaojio? Junior Sister Xiaojio, you are so mean. You actually beat Senior Brother 10 times. How did I offend you?" And Lin Chuan said angrily. He and Shang Guanhao had already confirmed Yun Chujio's identity. If it weren't for Junior Sister Xiaojio, she wouldn't have said what the god said. If it weren't for Junior Sister Xiaojio, she wouldn't have a gas mask. We'll talk about it when we get back. I've made a small fortune today. Let's go back and celebrate. Hei Shinjio didn't admit or deny it. And Lin Chuan and Shang Guanhao had an epiphany. This black-hearted Leng Xiaojio was indeed Yun Chujio's troublemaker. The two of them were both curious and impressed. How on earth did this black-hearted person become the alliance leader of the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance? After the three of them returned to the sandstorm, Yun Chujio gathered the people from the Unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance. She first summarized the experience of this operation and then said, "I've said before that the rewards are clear. This time, everyone's performance was very good, so I specially thought of a way to earn some spirit stones. Everyone will be rewarded with 10,000 high-grade spirit stones as encouragement." The loose cultivator alliances people simply couldn't believe their ears. Did this black-hearted alliance leader eat the wrong medicine? She actually wanted to reward each of them with 10,000 high-grade spirit stones? Did the sun rise from the north? After a while, when everyone really received 10,000 high-grade spirit stones, their eyes were filled with tears. Although this alliance leader was black-hearted and shameless, she seemed to be not bad. At least they could win the war by following her, and at least they could earn money by following her. However, they had a question. Where did their black-hearted union leader earn so many spirit stones? If these people knew that their black-hearted union leader had embezzled 90% of the spirit stones, they would definitely feed their gratitude to the dogs. At this moment, He Xinjiu was comparing notes with An Linchuan and Shangguan Hao. It was nothing more than showing off how she became the union leader of the unaffiliated cultivator union. An Linchuan and Shangguan Hao were stunned. A moment later, An Linchuan widened his eyes and asked in disbelief, "Junior Sister Jiu, do you mean that Ling Datu is Leng Kuei of the Yuan killing sect?" Yun Chujiu nodded. "Yes, I gave him a fake name. Isn't it nice?" And Linchuan, Shangguan Hao, little ninth junior sister was good in every way, but there seemed to be something wrong with her aesthetic standards. How could an unfashionable name like Leng Datu be considered a good name? After An Linchuan came back to his senses, he hugged his stomach and laughed out loud. That fellow Leng Kuei used to be so arrogant. I didn't expect him to be called Leng Datu. I'm dying of laughter. Although Shangguan Hao was not as exaggerated as An Linchuan, he was still laughing his head off. They were not on good terms with the murderous Yuan sect, so naturally, they were not on good terms with Leng Kuei. In the past, when they met, they often exchanged cold words with each other. They did not expect Leng Kuei to be tricked by junior sister Jiu. Just as the two of them were laughing their heads off, Leng Kuei walked in from outside the tent. And Linchuan held his stomach and pointed at Leng Kuei. "Leng Dadi, Leng Dadi. You have such a day too. I'm so amused." Leng Kuei came in to ask about Yun Chujia's yellow mud mound. When he heard An Linchuan's words, he immediately knew that his identity was exposed. He was angry and angry at the same time. He roared, "An Linchuan, shut up." "Okay, I'll shut up. Deputy Chief of Leng Datu, haha." And Linchuan rolled on the ground with laughter. Seeing that Leng Kuei's hair was about to explode, Yun Chujiu touched her nose guiltily. "Senior brother, and that's enough. I gave this name to senior brother Leng. Is it that funny? I think it's pretty good. Senior brother Leng, don't be angry. Senior brother and has a problem with his aesthetic judgment. Leng Datu is such a good name. Really, I think it's pretty good." Leng Kuei suddenly had something to vent his anger on. He gnashed his teeth and said, "Yun Chujiu, if you think Leng Datu's name is good, why did you name yourself Leng Xiaojiu instead of Leng Xiaotu?" He Xinjiu coughed dryly. "She is a girl. How can she be called by such a vulgar name?" Leng Kuei, so he was a man, so he deserved to be called Leng Datu, a vulgar name? Yun Chujiu saw that Leng Kuei was about to spit fire. She quickly smoothed her hair. "Senior brother Leng, don't be angry. Don't be angry. The name is a small matter. We have made a great contribution this time. Master Xiaohou will definitely be proud of you when he hears this news. When that time comes, who in the entire murderous origin sect will not praise you, senior brother Leng Kuei? Leng Datu's name will also be a good story in the future." He Xinjiu's boisterous words finally extinguished Leng Kuei's anger. And Linchuan also felt that he had gone too far just now, so he quickly changed the topic. "Junior sister Xiao Jiu, what should we do next?" "Young hero, and please address me as Chief Xiao Jiu in the future. After all, my identity cannot be exposed for the time being. Besides, public affairs are public affairs, and private affairs are private affairs. I have always distinguished between public affairs and private affairs," He Xinjiu said pretentiously. And Linchuan, being pretentious was like being struck by lightning. However, this fellow did not seem to be afraid of being struck by lightning. I think that actually, blindly defending won't solve the problem. It's best to take the initiative to attack and completely exterminate this group of scum from the Nightmare Clan or drive them back to the far west. Unfortunately, although my prestige has increased a little, it's still not enough. Those old fogies won't listen to me, so we can't be too hasty in this matter. We still have to slowly accumulate prestige. Right now, I only have one wish, and that is that those scumbags from the Nightmare Clan better find something to do and let me torture them properly. That way I can quickly build up some prestige. Hei Shinjio kept calling him me, and the corners of Lin Chuan and the other's eyes twitched. This bad deed was perfectly explained. What was being smug? What was shameless? For a few days in a row, there was nothing unusual about the Nightmare Clan. Hei Shinjio was really bored out of her mind, so she decided to systematically train the Loose Cultivator Alliance's physical strength. As a result, the members of the Loose Cultivator Alliance were all out of luck. Being trained to death by this fellow all day long, they simply felt that it was even more miserable than a trial. But there were many people who were even more unlucky than them. On this day, Alliance Master Yen was in the meeting tent discussing matters with Mountain Master Zhua and the others. The general in charge of the Yuan-Tu Mountain Pass requested to see him. Alliance Master, I have something to report. What is it? Yes, it's about the matter of the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance. They affected our defenses. The general at the Yuan-Tu Mountain Pass had a strange expression on his face. Alliance Master Yen was stunned. Your Yuan-Tu Mountain is hundreds of li away from the Baleful Wind Gap. How could the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance affect you? Bai Li asked before the generals at the entrance of Yuan-Tu Mountain could answer. Another general from Chicken Crow Mountain requested to see them. After Alliance Master Yen sent people in, the general from Chicken Crow Mountain said with a sad face, Alliance Master, you have to make a decision for us. The Freelance Martial Artist Alliance is too outrageous. We have no way to properly set up our defenses. Alliance Master Yen was stunned. They were here to complain again? Just as Alliance Master Yen was about to ask in detail, another general from Hua Ting Mountain requested to see him. As soon as he entered, he said angrily, Alliance Master, the people from the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance are too outrageous. If we don't deal with them, we won't be able to live a normal life. Immediately after that, Maiji Mountain, Fangdo Mountain, Bao Ta Mountain, almost all the generals on the 10,000 miles of Gobi defense line came to complain to Alliance Master Yen. Although there were more than 10 people in the plaintiff, there was only one defendant, and that was the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance. To be more precise, it was the Alliance Master of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance, Leng Xiaojio. Alliance Master Yen was completely confused. What did the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance do that was so infuriating? How did they offend all these generals? The Yuan-Tu Mountain general who came in at the beginning said with a sad face, Alliance Master, about 10 days ago, the people of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance seemed to have been injected with stimulants. Before dawn, they started to run in formation. They shouted slogans as they ran, what unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance? They only specialize in killing the nightmare race. Chief Xiaojio, invincible in the world, there are at least 1,000 people at a time, and their voices are deafening. That's nothing. At worst, we can just cover our ears. But that Leng Xiaojio got a pole and was carried to the back of the team. Every time she reached our pass, she would accuse us of having a problem with our defenses. At this point, the general of Yuan-Tu Mountain had an unnatural expression on his face. Although Leng Xiaojio's words were a little harsh, the problem she pointed out did make some sense. The general of Yuan-Tu Mountain coughed dryly twice, then he said, This is nothing. It's not that we can't be criticized. The main thing is that after her nonsense, my disciples also want to train with her team. Hearing this, Alliance Master Yen was a little puzzled. Hero Zhu, let me interject. What did that Leng Xiaojio say? She actually made your subordinates want to follow her team for training? The face of the Yu Mountain general twisted. She used nothing more than goading them. She said that my subordinates couldn't hold on at all, that their physical strength was inferior to that of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance and so on. Besides, she's saying this several times a day. How can my men stand it? The Hua Ting Mountain general said angrily, These are all trivial matters. The most hateful thing is that this Leng Xiaojio is always jumping around. After she climbed to the top of the mountain, she provoked the nightmare race on the opposite side. After that, she ran away. We had no choice but to fight the furious nightmare race. When the other generals at the checkpoint heard the words of the General Hua Tingshan, they immediately added, lamenting how the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance, especially their leader, Lung Little Nine, had gone too far. Apart from the above-mentioned things, Lung Little Nine still had some matters to attend to and had no reason to bet with them. Every time, they lost miserably. Among them, the general of Fong Do Shan, who was right next to the Killing Wind, had lost the most miserably. He had lost the power to arrange the entire Fong Do Shan to Leng Xiaojiu. To put it bluntly, he was now just a single commander. Alliance Master Yen and the others were dumbstruck. Leng Xiaojiu had only been here for half a month. How did he become a bad news bag that everyone wanted to beat up? When the peak masters and elders of the Chaos Origin sect and the Killing Origin sect heard this, they immediately felt that this Leng Xiaojiu's style of doing things was exactly the same as that bad news bag, Yun Chujiu. Could it be that this little Jiu was a bad news bag? Alliance Master Yen had no choice but to find He Xinjiu, who had angered everyone. The moment He Xinjiu entered the meeting tent, she first greeted Alliance Master Yen and the other masters. Then, she bared her little white teeth at the more than 10 past generals. "Oh my, so everyone is here. I was wondering why I didn't see you all when I went to the training today. Now that I can't see you all for a day, I miss you so much. I simply can't eat or sleep." The generals at the pass snorted coldly, thinking to themselves, "You think of them like a bad person?" Thinking of their spirit stones was more like it. Poor thing, was it easy for them to save up some spirit stones? In just a few days, they were almost halfway through being cheated by this bad thing. Alliance Master Yen coughed and said, "Alliance Master Lung, these generals at the pass have reported some things to me. For example, you led the team of the Loose Cultivator Alliance to train. Are these things true? Do you have any explanation?" Yun Chujiu nodded. "They're all right. I admit it. However, which rule did I violate the military rules of the Alliance Army? I have read the military rules of the Alliance Army. A person like me who obeys the rules will definitely not violate the military rules." Alliance Master Yen. It seemed that probably what Leng Xiaojiu did not violate the military rules. However, it was also true that the establishment of the Alliance Army was rushed, and the military rules were also drafted. They did not expect that Leng Xiaojiu would take advantage of this loophole. Alliance Master Yen, besides, everything I did was to increase the alertness and combat strength of the Alliance Army. First of all, I pulled the team to strengthen their physical strength and discipline. As for the disciples at the other checkpoints, they volunteered to participate. It was already good enough that I did not charge them a membership fee. Do you still blame me? Secondly, I had seen some flaws in the defenses that I had pointed out with good intentions and had not charged them any consulting fees. You all had the nerve to criticize me? Finally, I had stood on the summit of their mountain to provoke the nightmare race. On one hand, I had caused the nightmare race to not be at peace. On the other hand, I had also wanted the Alliance Army to maintain their vigilance and their desire to fight. I had shouted until my throat had gone hoarse, and had not asked you for the money for the pills. You're talking about me? I spent so much effort to help the Alliance Army increase their physical strength and combat strength. I poured my heart and blood into making the nightmare race unable to live in peace. I spent so much effort to make the Alliance Army remain vigilant. Have I expressed my merit to you? Have I asked you for benefits? You actually came here to complain? Doesn't your conscience hurt? It's really too disappointing and sad. The generals at the checkpoint were speechless and embarrassed. How could they feel that she had done all good things and that they had become ungrateful wretches? Occasionally missing content, please report errors in time. In the meeting tent, besides Yun Chujia's whimper of grievance, the rest of the people kept quiet. Some of the generals at the checkpoint even felt that it was unforgivable to come here to complain. The little girl had racked her brains for their good, yet they came here to complain. It was really too wicked. Alliance Master Yan's heart was like a dog that was bickering. Before you generals came here to complain, didn't you think about it carefully? But now, after being kissed by this Leng Xiaojiu, nothing happened. What did you want him, the Alliance Master of the Alliance Army, to say? Previously, he still looked like he wanted to interrogate them. How was he going to end things now? Jia Yuanshan, the general at the pass of Huating Mountain, snorted coldly, even if what you said is right, then what do you say if you cheated us of our money? Hei Xinjiu stomped her feet. Oh my! The conscience of heaven and earth. Was that cheating? Did I put a knife to your neck or beat you with a whip? I only mentioned it unintentionally, but you insisted on making a bet with me. I've already said that I won't make a bet with you. You insisted on forcing me to make a bet with you, and then you lost. Are you blaming me? Jia Yuanshan suddenly stopped moving. That's right. Every time, it seemed that this bad boy really did not take the initiative to propose a bet. Every time he was the one who proposed the bet, and this bad boy still tried to shirk it. Then the question was he crazy at that time? Why did he have to bet with her? Jia Yuanshan recalled the first time he made a bet. A few days ago, Hei Xinjiu led the team to the pass of the Painted Hill. Hei Xinjiu used the excuse of visiting Jia Yuanshan to enter the pass of the Painting Mountain. After seeing Jia Yuanshan, Hei Xinjiu proposed to go to the top of the mountain to have a look. Jia Yuanshan initially rejected her verbally. Hei Xinjiu said faintly, General Jia, are you afraid that I will point out the flaws in your defense, so you don't dare to let me go up to have a look? Jia Yuanshan was originally a hot-tempered and arrogant person. How could he withstand Yun Chujia's provocation? He immediately led Hei Xinjiu to the top of the mountain. TSK. General Jia, I don't mean to criticize you, but setting up a defense is an art. You're still lacking. Hei Xinjiu pouted and said. Jia Yuanshan immediately widened his eyes. What's wrong with my defense? If you don't understand, don't talk nonsense. Hei Xinjiu shook her head. Forget it. I'm just talking nonsense. Don't take it seriously. Anyway, so go back now. See you later. Jia Yuanshan was unwilling to give up. He blocked Yun Chujia's way and said, No, you must speak clearly today. Otherwise, I can't let you go. I was just joking. I didn't expect General Jia to be serious. It's not impossible to say it. But if I'm right, what will General Jia do? Hei Xinjiu forced herself to be calm. Seeing this, Jia Yuanshan thought that Yun Chujiu was spouting nonsense. He immediately snorted, Humph! I'll make a bet with you. If there's really something wrong with my defense, I'll give you 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. If you spout nonsense, you'll give me 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. Do you dare? This isn't a good bet? 100,000 spirit stones isn't a small amount. Hei Xinjia's eyes flickered as she said. The more Hei Xinjiu said this, the more Jia Yuanshan felt that Yun Chujiu was guilty. Therefore, even though Yun Chujiu rejected him several times, Jia Yuanshan still refused to let her go. Therefore, yes, he was successfully cheated of 100,000 upper-grade spiritual stones. The next day, when Hei Xinjiu came again, she did the same thing again. Jia Yuanshan thought of the spiritual stones he lost the day before, and he would be cheated again. Seeing that no one moved, Yun Chujiu crossed her arms and said while shaking her feet, Well, since you have nothing to say, shouldn't we talk about the various fees you owe me now? We are all old acquaintances. I will give you a discount. After hearing Hei Xinjia's shameless words, everyone was dumbfounded. There was no one else who could be so thick-skinned. However, after thinking for a while, the more than 10 generals of the pass could not think of any words to refute her. They had really seen a ghost. The Yuan-Tu mountain general rubbed his hands and said, Well, there are still some matters to deal with at the pass. If Alliance Master Yen has nothing else to do, this subordinate will go back now. The general of Mount Jiming said, I also remembered that there are still some very important matters to deal with. Alliance Master Yen, if you are fine, this subordinate will also go back. Jia Yuanshan of Mount Huating said, Alliance Master Yen, this subordinate's stomach is hurting a little. I will take my leave now. Before Alliance Master Yen could express his stance, The more than 10 generals at the pass all slipped away. Alliance Master Yen, damn it, no one would do that. You guys stirred up trouble and just left like that? What about him? Hei Shinjio pursed her lips and muttered, a monk can't run away from the temple if he runs away. Well, look for them again when we're training tomorrow. How dare you accuse me of being black, The people in the meeting tent immediately lit a candle for the generals at the checkpoints. Even the head of the Fan family had been extorted 1 billion upper-grade spirit stones by this guy, and they still dared to provoke her? They were really out of their minds. Alliance Master Yen coughed and said, Alliance Master Lung, it seems that this is all a misunderstanding. Since it's a misunderstanding, it's good to talk things out. Well, you guys are quite busy at the Gale port. If there's nothing else, Alliance Master Lung can go back first. Hei Shinjio narrowed her eyes. She smiled and said, Alliance Master Yen, I heard that the Alliance Army is usually paid. Although our unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance is not a regular army, we are still sacrificing our lives to protect the immortal Essence continent. You want favor one over the other, right? Alliance Master Yan's heart skipped a beat. What he was afraid of came true. He knew that this Lung Xiaojiu was not so easy to get rid of. Alliance Master Yen laughed and said, Alliance Master Lung, you're right. However, didn't you just get 400 million upper-grade spirit stones from the Fan family's head a few days ago? Can you waive the pay? Hei Shinjio was immediately unhappy. Alliance Master Yen, this is a one-size-fits-all deal. Those 400 million upper-grade spiritual stones are the money we use to clean up the mess of the Yellow Mud Mound garrison. How can this be the same as the pay? Alliance Master Yen, it's really not that I, Lung Xiaojiu, am greedy. Think about it. The Alliance Army has the pay, but the people of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance don't. What do you want them to think? What we are most afraid of on this battlefield is demoralizing the morale. Do you think it's appropriate to lower the morale just because of a few salaries? Forget it. If the Alliance Army doesn't want to give the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance their salaries, it's not a big deal. At most, I, Lung Xiaojiu, will pay out of my own pocket. After all, we are not a regular army. Alliance Master Yen would never let Yun Chujio pay out of her own pocket. If this were to spread out, it would definitely say that he, the Alliance Master of the Alliance Army, was biased. He could only say painfully, Alliance Master Lung, I was just saying. The salary should still be paid. In a while, I will get someone to transfer it to you. Hei Shinjio said a few polite words before she left with satisfaction. Alliance Master Lung felt sullen in his heart. Who had he offended? He was waiting in the meeting tent. Just because of the complaints from the generals at the pass, he would have to pay out the salary from Yu in the future. It was simply ridiculous. Hei Shinjio received the military pay. After returning to the storm mouth, she distributed the military pay to everyone. The people of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance were completely in awe of their black-hearted alliance leader. They had come to help voluntarily. They did not expect to receive military pay at all. It seemed that the black-hearted alliance leader Little Nine was still reliable. In the following period of time, Hei Shinjio was still happily jumping around at all the checkpoints. Because the generals at those checkpoints owed Hei Shinjio money, their confidence was even more lacking. Moreover, because they had harmed Alliance Master Yen and lost his money, they were too embarrassed to complain about Hei Shinjio, so they could only continue to be harmed by Hei Shinjio. Of course, Hei Shinjio was not just fooling around. Through these few days of fooling around, she understood the arrangement of the defense line of the entire tens of thousands of miles of Gobi Desert. Moreover, she had pointed out some flaws in the arrangement of the defense line and made people correct them. Moreover, she had lost twice in one life. Now, she had become familiar with these generals at the pass and had caught their little braids. In the future, when she was going to hold great power, these people would not dare to cause trouble. Of course, this fellow would not admit it because it was too boring. Inside the Nightmare Clan's meeting tent, the Nightmare Clan's crown prince was gathering his subordinates to discuss matters. Crown Prince, recently, the human race's various passes have frequently provoked us. We must think of a way to teach them a lesson. The person who spoke was the Nightmare Clan general who had fallen halfway down the mountain previously. His waist was still hurting faintly. The humans have always been timid and afraid of trouble. In the past, they only guarded the defensive line and did not allow our nightmare race to advance. Why are they acting differently this time? The Crown Prince of the Nightmare race asked with a frown. Crown Prince, we have observed that the one who seems to be provoking us at the beginning seems to be a stinky girl wearing a silver mask. A stinky girl wearing a silver mask? It's her again. The Crown Prince of the Nightmare race slammed the table angrily. He had suffered a great loss the last time. When he thought about it carefully, he realized that he had been tricked by Leng Xiaojiu. It was the first time that the Crown Prince of the Nightmare race had suffered such a great loss, especially when he had been tricked by a little girl at the 6th level of the Ling Xian realm. One could imagine the anger in his heart. The Nightmare race had previously captured some humans. He had specially interrogated them, but there was no such person as Leng Xiaojiu. It seemed that Leng Xiaojiu had suddenly appeared. The Crown Prince of the Nightmare race could not understand how a little girl at the 6th level of the Ling Xian realm had become the leader of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance. The people of the Nightmare race rarely dreamed, but the Crown Prince of the Nightmare race had been having the same dream repeatedly recently. The main characters in the dream were always him and that damn Leng Xiaojiu. There was only one content, and that was that he was beaten up by Leng Xiaojiu in different ways. Because of this, the Crown Prince of the Nightmare race had not slept for several days. His eyes were red. He felt that there was only one way to solve the problem, and that was to kill Leng Xiaojiu. The Crown Prince of the Yen clan revealed a vicious look in his bloodshot eyes. Gather all the troops and launch an attack at midnight tomorrow. The target is the windbreak. If anyone can capture or kill Leng Xiaojiu alive, they will be heavily rewarded. Yes. The next day, Yun Chujiu trained the troops as usual. When this guy was jumping around at all the checkpoints, he discovered one thing, and that was that the Yen clan in each of the checkpoints did not come out to fight. Hei Xinjiu frowned. Every time she scolded the Nightmare race that only knew how to fart, the Nightmare race would jump around like they were injected with stimulants. Why was it so quiet today? Could it be that they were already immune to her provocation? The next few checkpoints were all in the same situation. Hei Xinjia's heart stirred. Could it be that the Nightmare race was plotting something? When Yun Chujiu hopped to the pass of Hua Ting Mountain, she voiced her doubts. Jia Yuanshan pursed his lips. Alliance leader Ling, although I have lost many bets to you in the past, you are really overthinking this time. Even if the Yen clan were to make a move, they would not move all the people in the base to the same place. If that was the case, wouldn't we be able to surround them while they were attacking? So that's not going to happen. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes, rubbed her chin and pondered for a while, then said, General Jia, I'll go to the other side to take a look. Are you coming? Jia Yuanshan shook his head like a rattledrum. Was this Leng Xiaojiu crazy? Go to the other side to take a look? You're going to die there, right? Alliance Chief Ling, are you feeling a little feverish? Although the other side is not the main force of the Yen clan, there are more than 1,000 people stationed there. If you go down there, aren't you going to die? I think there should be no one in the other camp. Even if there are people, there are only a few of them. Doesn't General Jia feel that being suppressed by the Yen clan is very sullen? Or is it that General Jia is not as bold as a little girl at the 6th level of the Ling Xian realm like me? Yun Chujiu said disdainfully. Jia Yuanshan had always been a firecracker. How could he withstand Yun Chujiu's goading? He immediately snorted and said, I don't dare. I'm just afraid that something will happen to you. When the time comes, it will be time to extort my spirit stones again. Yun Chujiu glanced at him. General Jia, you should watch your words. When did I extort your spirit stones? That was all you who lost to me. Can you have a little bit of gambling ethics? Stop wasting time. Let's go down and pick up the scraps. Hei Xinjiu said as she tied a rope around her waist and climbed down the opposite mountain. Jia Yuanshan gritted his teeth and had no choice but to follow her to the foot of the opposite mountain. When the two of them reached the foot of the mountain, there was still no movement from the other side of the Nightmare Race's base. Hei Shinjio stretched her neck and cursed. Occasionally, one or two people would poke their heads out from the other side of the base, but they did not form an entire team to attack. Hei Shinjio blinked her eyes and walked forward for a short distance. Jia Yuanshan's heart was in his throat. The Nightmare Race might have set up a trap and was waiting for them to enter. This Leng Xiaojiu was really courting death. Most importantly, it was fine if she wanted to die, but she had to drag him along. It was really despicable. Yun Chujio stretched her neck and shouted a few more words, but there was still no whole team coming out. She stopped in her tracks and said, "Let's go, we're going back." Jia Yuanshan was stunned. "You're not going forward? Didn't you say you were going to pick up scraps? If you're willing to go, then go by yourself. I'm timid, so I'll go back first." After Hei Shinjio said that, she ran back. Jia Yuanshan, what did she mean by he was willing? He was obviously tricked by her, all right? Jia Yuanshan had no choice but to follow Yun Chujio back to the foot of the mountain, following the rope up to the top. "General Jia, what do you think?" Hei Shinjio narrowed her eyes. Jia Yuanshan was stunned. "What do you mean, what do you think? We haven't gone far, what can we see?" There are less than 100 people in the camp of the Nightmare Race, perhaps only a few dozen people. Their main force must have gathered at a certain pass. They might launch a fierce attack tonight, Yun Chujio said with a frown. "Alliance leader Leng, don't joke around. Didn't I tell you before? Even if the Nightmare Race launched an attack, it would be impossible for them to gather all their forces together. Moreover, we did not discover any signs of movement from the opposing garrison." Jia Yuanshan curled his lips and said. The corners of Yun Chujio's lips curled up. "Of course I'm not spouting nonsense. First of all, we have already reached the foot of the mountain, and we have scolded them so harshly. The Yen clan did not send anyone out either. This is very abnormal. Secondly, didn't you notice that there is something unusual about the southern side of the Yen clan's garrison?" Jia Yuanshan's face was filled with bafflement. "I didn't notice it. Isn't it just some Blatilla splendens and some shrubs?" Yun Chujio said with a smile, "Haven't you noticed that there's something different about those splendor grass? The splendor grass usually grew towards the direction of the sun, while a portion of the splendor grass near the Yen clan's encampment had fallen to the ground. It was obvious that it had been trampled on by many people. In addition, many of the branches of those shrubs had also been broken. Generally speaking, when cultivators advance, they are different from the soldiers of the secular world. If it is not a particularly urgent situation, they will go around the shrubs. Now that even the shrubs have been broken, it means that they left in a very urgent manner. It is very likely that they left last night. Our garrison troops on this side did not notice their movements because the sky was dark and they were far away." Jia Yuanshan was dumbstruck when he heard that. He looked at Yun Chujio with a blank expression. "Oh my God, how did this Leng Xiaojia's head grow?" Before Jia Yuanshan could react, Yun Chujio had already jumped away. Yun Chujio went to the Chicken Crow Mountain beside Hua Ting Mountain again. She found that the situation at the Chicken Crow Mountain and Hua Ting Mountain were roughly the same. This fellow went to the other checkpoints to check again, and they were all the same as the situation at Hua Ting Mountain. She returned to the windbreak of the garrison. After cursing for a while, no one came out. However, it was obvious that there were many more garrison troops poking their heads out. Yun Chujio observed for a while at the top of the mountain. It would have been great if she could get closer to investigate. Unfortunately, the group of sand sea poisonous bees and the large red ants that she had tamed had been released back to the extreme West Sand Sea after they had blocked the Yen clan. Demonic insects were different from demonic beasts. Demonic beasts could stay in their spirit beast pouches for a long period of time. Demonic insects had to frequently go out to search for food, and they had to be in a place that was suitable for growing. This was also the reason why many cultivators did not like raising demonic insects. Moreover, there was a concentrated baleful wind at the windscreen, so the demonic insects had no way of sneaking into the Yen clan's base. However, Hei Shinjio could basically confirm that the Yen clan's target was clearly the windscreen. This was understandable. The Nightmare Race's crown prince had suffered a great loss at her hands. He must have hated her to death. Furthermore, the windbreak was easy to attack but difficult to defend. Using this place as an opening was undoubtedly a good choice. The Nightmare Race's crown prince was clearly prepared to risk everything. Taking the risk of being surrounded by the human race, the Nightmare Race's main forces were all dispatched to the windbreak. They could either surprise the enemy and break through the human race's defenses in one fell swoop, or they could be surrounded by the human race and suffer heavy losses. This prince of the Nightmare Race had a unique way of doing things. If he hadn't met her Alliance Master Yen, he might have succeeded. Unfortunately, he had to meet her Alliance Master Yen. Thinking of this, Hei Shinjio jumped into the meeting tent of the Alliance army in a flash. Alliance Master Yen felt his head ache when he saw Hei Shinjio. The army pay had been given to her, so what was this guy doing here? The moment Hei Shinjio entered the meeting tent, she said with a smile, "Alliance Master Yen, there's a great piece of good news." Alliance Master Yen was stunned. What good news? The good news that our human race has recovered the lost land. The Nightmare Race has gathered all their forces, and it's estimated that they will use the sandstorm as a breakthrough point tonight. We might as well play along and let the Nightmare Race's army in through the sandstorm. Then, we can encircle and annihilate them. At least, we can eliminate most of the main forces of the Nightmare Race. When that time comes, we can take advantage of the situation and continue our pursuit. We can definitely regain the territory occupied by the Yen clan. Hei Shinjio said with a smile. Alliance Master Yen was stunned at first, then the corners of his eyes twitched. Alliance Master Lang, if you have any requests, just say it. The joke you told is not funny at all. Alliance Master Yen, what I said is true and not a joke. When I went to check the various checkpoints today, I discovered that the Yen clan's encampment opposite, Yun Chujio recounted what had happened. Seeing that she did not look like she was joking, Alliance Master Yen got someone to gather Mountain Master Joie and the others over. Then he got Yun Chujio to recount her thoughts. When everyone heard Yun Chujio's words, they immediately exploded. The head of the Fan family hated Yun Chujio to death in his heart. Now that he finally had an opportunity, he naturally wouldn't let it go. He sneered and said, Alliance Master Lung, although your judgment last time was correct and you've made a great contribution, you can't be too arrogant. The Yen clan isn't a fool. How could they do such a stupid thing? Besides, the Yen clan could have mobilized their troops after nightfall. Why did they gather their troops last night? Aren't they afraid that we'll find out? Moreover, your judgment is only based on the splendor grass and bushes. This is too childish. The others also echoed, yes, Chiefling. Your deduction is too arbitrary. The Yen clan is cunning and cunning. How could they make such a low-level mistake? You scolded them, but they didn't say anything. They just saw through your intentions, so they didn't fall for it. And those splendor grass and bushes, they probably stepped on them when they passed by, so they can't be counted. No matter how Yun Chujio explained and proved, apart from Mountain Master Zhao of the Fire Peak, no one else agreed with Hei Xinjia's thoughts. Hei Shinjio was furious. As expected, what she said was right. They weren't afraid of a godlike enemy, but they were afraid of a pig-like opponent. Such a good opportunity to heavily injure the Nightmare Race, yet they didn't grasp it. This was truly infuriating. Just as Yun Chujio was about to say something, the head of the Fan family coldly snorted, Is this an excuse for your alliance to be afraid of the Nightmare Race launching an attack? Do you think we are all fools? If you are afraid of death, you should say so as soon as possible. It's not like our alliance doesn't have people. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes and said, The head of the Fan family really has sharp eyes. You are right. Our alliance is afraid of death. Since the head of the Fan family is so brave, he can take over our alliance. Our freelance martial artist alliance can have some free time. Alliance Master Yen quickly tried to smooth things over. Alliance Master Lung, the head of the Fan family doesn't mean that. Your freelance martial artist alliance is brave and good at fighting. Why would you be afraid of the Nightmare Clan? Alliance Master Yen, you think too highly of our freelance martial artist alliance. Our freelance martial artist alliance isn't a regular army to begin with. Naturally, we're not as brave as the Alliance army. I was too embarrassed to mention it at first, but now that the head of the Fan family has suggested it, I will take advantage of the situation. The Baleful Wind Gap is easy to attack but hard to defend. Our loose cultivator alliance doesn't want to defend anymore. Either give us another pass or give us a few days off and let us rest. At first, Alliance Master Yen was still trying to persuade her, but after he had said all the good words, Yun Chujio still looked like a scoundrel. Alliance Master Yen was also furious. Alliance Master Leng, since your unaffiliated cultivator alliance is so cowardly, there's no need for you to help guard the pass. Go ahead. Yun Chujio shrugged indifferently. Go ahead, go ahead. Alliance Master Yen, quickly send someone to replace us. Our unaffiliated cultivator alliance has been training too hard recently. Find a place to rest and recuperate. Alliance Master Yen was absolutely furious. He slammed the table. I will immediately send someone to replace your unaffiliated cultivator alliance. Go ahead, I won't send you off. Hearing Alliance Master Yan's words, Yun Chujio gave a perfunctory bow and then turned around to leave the meeting tent. Alliance Master Yen was so angry that he was about to explode. If it weren't for the fact that the unaffiliated cultivator alliance didn't belong to the Alliance army, he would definitely have dealt with that Leng Xiaojiu properly. Going back on his words and treating such a major matter like fighting against the Nightmare Clan as a child's game was really too much. The head of the Fan family fanned the flames and said, Alliance leader, I've said before that this Leng Xiaojio's background isn't right. Now that I look at it, he really doesn't have any sense of the big picture. Just because we didn't agree with her opinion, she's using this to blackmail us. She's really too arrogant. The others also echoed in succession. In the past, they thought that although this Leng Xiaojio was a little greedy, he wasn't bad. They didn't expect that he would actually cause such a ruckus now. It was really disappointing. They did not know why the people of the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance chose such a ridiculous alliance leader. It was really hard to understand. After Yun Chujio returned to the Wind Gap, she said angrily to the people of the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance, the alliance said that we are not a regular army. They said that our Freelance Martial Artist Alliance is just a bunch of mobs. The moment we came, we asked them to guard the Wind Gap. This Wind Gap is easy to attack but hard to defend. They are bullying us because we are outsiders. I won't serve them anymore. Someone will come to replace us in a while. They'll bring you to drink and eat meat. Although the people from the Loose Cultivator Alliance were angry, they felt that it was a little inappropriate to act so impulsively. After all, they had come to fight against the Nightmare Clan. Leaving just like that was a little too casual. Unfortunately, no one dared to challenge Hei Xinjia's authority. After the people sent by the Alliance army took over the windbreak, Hei Xinjiu led the people from the Loose Cultivator Alliance and left the windbreak. And Lin Chuan and Sheng Guanhao were dumbfounded. They were not from the Alliance of Itinerant Cultivators, so where should they go now? And Lin Chuan eagerly went to Yun Chujia's side and asked in a low voice, Little Jiu, Chief Ling, are you really going to leave the vast desert? Hei Xinjiu glared at him. Who said that I'm going to leave the vast desert? And Lin Chuan was stunned. Then where are you going? Yuan Shi from Fang Shan has lost the command to me. He'll bring you to Fang Shan for a walk. Hei Xinjiu said with a smile. Leng Kuei snorted coldly. What are you trying to do? Why are you going to Fang Shan when you can't even keep your mouth shut? Vice Alliance leader Leng Datu, you'd better shut up. I have my own plans. Otherwise, your name will spread throughout the Alliance army. Hei Xinjiu knew Leng Kuei the best. As long as he could catch him, he would be obedient. Sure enough, Leng Kuei snorted and didn't say anything, while Yuan Shi was inspecting the defenses on Fang Shan. A subordinate rushed over. General Yuan, Alliance Leader Leng from the Alliance of Non-Affiliates has brought people from the Alliance of Non-Affiliates to the foot of our mountain. She said she wants to take over Fangdo Shan. Yuan Shi. He had indeed lost the command of Fangdo Shan to Leng Xiaojiu, but he didn't take it seriously. After all, this command was given to him by the Alliance army, so it was impossible for him to really hand it over to her. Tell him that I don't have time to see her. Yuan Shi said that she couldn't afford to offend her and could hide. The subordinate hesitated for a moment and then said, General, Alliance Leader Ling said that if you don't see her, she will go to the Miss of the Hunyuan sect to have a chat. Hearing that, Yuan Shi immediately ran to the foot of the mountain to pick up He Xinjiu. At the foot of Fangdo Mountain, He Xinjiu was rolling her eyes as she thought of an idea. Since Alliance Master Yan's group of old fogies could not persuade her, then she could only use her own method to solve it. If she did not evacuate the people of the Freelance Martial Alliance from the Killing Wind Gap, then there would only be death tonight. Their Freelance Martial Alliance had been pieced together in the first place and was not a match for the main force of the Nightmare Clan at all. Of course, she would not let the Alliance army that had taken their place to die either. She had to think of a way to break this deadlock. This fellow wanted to force all the generals at the pass to listen to her words, but firstly, it was not very maneuverable. Secondly, if she did that, even if they really won, those generals would probably be completely disgraced in front of Alliance Master Yen and the other big shots. Before He Xinjiu could come up with a plan, Yuan Shi ran over from the top of the mountain. Yuan 11 had heard from his subordinates that Leng Xiaojiu had brought people to take over his Fangdo Mountain. He had thought that she had only brought a few people, but from the looks of it, there were thousands of people. What was Leng Xiaojiu up to? Was she going to rebel? Alliance Master Leng, what are you doing? You have brought people here. What about the storm vent? Yuan Shi asked in surprise. I've already given the windbreak to someone else to guard. I think your Fangdo Shan is pretty good, so I plan to stay in your Fangdo Shan for a few days, He Xinjiu said with a smile. Yuan Shi was dumbfounded. What did she mean by his Fangdo Shan was pretty good? Was she really planning to take over the magpie's nest? Alliance Master Leng, don't joke around. Did the Alliance order you to take over my Fangdo Shan? Pass me the document. Yuan Shi thought that Yun Chujiu came with the Alliance army document. Sigh. General Yuan, you are right. It is true that Alliance Master Yen gave me a document to take over, but my spiritual pet was mischievous and accidentally burned it. Do you think you can make an exception? Yun Chujiu said as she took out the little black bird to take the blame. Xiao Hanio rolled its eyes. Who did it offend? This is easy. I will send someone to Alliance Master Yen to verify it. Yuan 11 had already believed more than half of it. After all, he did not expect He Xinjiu to dare to tell such a big lie. Yun Chujiu looked at the sky and said, General Yuan, look at the sky. It is already dark. This trip will take a lot of time. Why don't you send someone tomorrow morning? Besides, Alliance Master Yen did not give you any other mission. You can stay in Fangdo Shan for now. I don't mind. Yuan Shi was still a little skeptical. He looked at Shangguan Hao. He trusted Shangguan Hao more, so he asked, Young hero Shangguan, is what Alliance Master Leng said true? Shangguan Hao refused to answer the question in his heart, but since the question had already reached his head, he could only say, yes, it's true. When Yuan Shi saw that Shangguan Hao had confirmed it, there was no longer any doubt in his heart. He happily allowed He Xinjiu and the others to enter Fangdo Mountain. The people from the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance were even more impressed by their Alliance Master He Xinjiu. Damn it, their Alliance Master He Xinjiu was too good at deceiving people. How could she have tricked them into entering Fangdo Mountain just like that? But why did she bring them into Fangdo Shan? Just to find a place to stay? He Xinjiu brought her people into Fangdo Shan and then said to Yuan 11 with a smile, General Yuan, what I said just now was actually a lie. I don't have Alliance Master Yan's document. Yuan Shi was stunned at first, then said with a smile, Alliance Master Leng, don't joke around. It's a big crime to impersonate Alliance Master Yan's order to take over the pass. Do you think I would believe it? Hei Xinjiu rolled her eyes at Yuan Shi. Believe it or not, if you don't, then forget it. They'll tell you the truth. I estimate that tonight, the Yen clan will use all their forces to launch a sneak attack on the Xiaofeng port. Therefore, I suggested to Alliance Master Yen that all the passes of our Alliance army should surround the Yen clan without anyone knowing. They will definitely be able to severely injure the Yen clan, but since Alliance Master Yen doesn't believe my words, I can only do it myself. Yuan Zai's heart sank. Was what Leng Xiaojiu said true? Did she really not have Alliance Master Yan's document? Was she lying to him? Yuan Zai's head buzzed. If what Leng Xiaojiu said was true, then he had committed a grave crime. You get out. Quickly take your people and leave Fangdou Mountain. I, Yuan Shi, will pretend that nothing happened, Yuan Shi said through gritted teeth. Have you heard of a saying? It's easy to invite the gods but difficult to send them off. We are already here. Do you want us to get out? No way. Besides, you have already made a mistake now. You can only atone for your sins by doing meritorious deeds. Moreover, the young miss of the primordial chaos sect, shut up. What on earth do you want to do? Yuan Shi wished he could strangle the little girl in front of him to death. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. I'm thinking about how to get rid of those scum from the Yen clan. This is a once-in-lifetime opportunity. It would be a pity to miss it like this. Moreover, once the Yen clan really takes down the malefic vent, the human race's defensive line will be completely defeated. After a mental struggle, Yuan 11 had no choice but to accept his fate. He frowned and asked, Your freelance martial artist alliance only has over 3,000 people, and our Fangdou Shan only has 1,200 people. Our combined forces are probably only 1/5 of the Nightmare clans. What can we do? Why don't I send people to keep an eye on the situation at the windbreak? Once the Nightmare clan launches an attack, we'll help the windbreak resist the Nightmare clan. We should be able to wait for reinforcements to arrive. Yun Chujio shook her head. You are talking about the worst-case scenario. Moreover, Fangdou Shan is too close to the windbreak. If the Yen clan cannot take down the windbreak, it is very likely that they will move to Fangdou Shan. At that time, we will have to take care of one thing and lose the other. The situation will be even worse. Leng Kuei could not hold it in any longer. This won't do. That won't do either. What do you want to do? Yun Chujia's eyes flashed with coldness. Kill. Everyone looked at each other. What did she mean by saying kill without thinking? Yun Chujio chimed in with her own thoughts. Everyone was instantly stunned. Could this work? Everyone tried to persuade her, but unfortunately, Hei Xinjiu had already made up her mind. Everyone could only nod and agree. After the sky had completely darkened, Hei Xinjiu led An Linchuan, Shangguan Hao, and dozens of experts from the Loose Cultivator Alliance down the rope to the side of the Fangdou Mountain near the Yen clan. And Lin Chuan's little heart was beating nonstop. He felt that he was already bold enough. He didn't expect that junior sister Little Nine would be so bold as to come up with such a risky idea. Little Nine, Alliance Chief, you, how confident are you? And Lin Chuan almost spilled the beans, so he had no choice but to change it to Little Nine. 100%. And Lin Chuan, you're strong. However, hearing Yun Chujio say this, and Lin Chuan and Shangguan Hao felt much more at ease. Everyone made their way to the Nightmare Race's encampment opposite Fangdou Mountain. Yun Chujio gestured to the back, and everyone understood. A portion of them went around to the other side of the encampment and deliberately made a ruckus. Very soon, a Nightmare Race encampment shouted sternly, "Who's there?" A few soldiers stationed in the Nightmare clan walked to the other side suspiciously. Who would have thought that there was still an ambush behind them? In just a short moment, a few soldiers stationed in the Nightmare clan had already died. Yun Chujio followed the same pattern and dealt with a few more soldiers stationed in the Nightmare clan. Only when she was certain that there were no fish that had escaped the net did Yun Chujio finally heave a sigh of relief. It looked like her judgment was correct. The Yen clan had indeed gathered all their main forces to the killing wind. Because the Yen clan had a secret communication technique, Yun Chujio was afraid that the news would leak out, so she did not leave the Yen clan alive to interrogate them. And Lin Chuan said with a face full of admiration, "Alliance Chief Little Jiao, I have to hand it to you. You are simply inhuman. You are a god." Yun Chujio did not pay attention to this idiot. She searched the Yen clan's garrisons, but did not find anything else. This guy rolled his eyes. The Yen clan had a secret communication technique. If there was no response, they might send people over to check. To be safe, it was better to leave some people behind. Hence, Yun Chujio left a dozen people behind and instructed them to wait until the battle started before leaving. After Yun Chujio made the arrangements, she then left the Yen clan's base with her people and returned to the foot of Fong Do Mountain. Yuan 11 and the others were waiting anxiously. When they saw that Yun Chujio and the others were safe and sound, they finally heaved a sigh of relief. Yun Chujio threw the corpse of the Nightmare clan's base onto the ground. "General Yuan, do you believe me now? There's not much time left, let's split up and move out. Now, go to the Alliance Army's tent as fast as you can and report this matter to Alliance Master Yen. I will bring my men and wipe out all the Nightmare clan's bases across the few passes. This way, after you get the document, the Alliance Army at the few passes will be able to quickly rush to the Shafeng mouth. Oh right, bring the corpses of the Yen clan's encampment to Alliance Master Yen, lest those old fogies still don't believe it." The corners of Yuan Zai's eyes twitched. He did not need Yun Chujio to say anything more, he would do his best. Because this was the only way to make up for his mistakes. Otherwise, Alliance Master Yen would definitely punish him for his crimes. The sky grew darker and darker, and it was finally midnight. Inside the Yen clan's meeting tent, the Yen clan's crown prince's fingers were rhythmically tapping on the table. "Darn girl, this crown prince has waited for so many days, and it's finally time to kill you. Let's see how arrogant you will be when the time comes." "Crown Prince, just now, a subordinate reported that when we were in routine contact with a few stations, we discovered that there were a few stations that did not reply. Will there be any problems?" The commander of the Yen clan's army, Mo Wan, said with some worry. He did not approve of the Nightmare race's Crown Prince's operation this time. It was really too risky. If it succeeded, it would naturally be very good. But if it failed, the human race would form an encirclement, and their Nightmare race would suffer heavy losses. The Crown Prince's courage was really too great. The Nightmare race's Crown Prince frowned. He did not think that the human race had the courage and boldness to give up the other passes to surround and annihilate them. But for the sake of safety, he said, then send a few people to take a look. After all, Fong Do Mountain is not too far from here. Very soon it was midnight. "Crown Prince, there has been no news of the people we sent previously. This is really a little strange. Why don't we postpone the operation for a while?" Mo Wan advised. The Crown Prince of the Yen clan snorted coldly. "The vast desert is different from other places. Our Yen clan's secret arts will sometimes fail. Perhaps we just happened to catch up this time. If the humans had sensed it, we wouldn't have been unaware of it at all. If we had missed this opportunity, it would have been even more difficult to break through the human defense line. There's no need to say any more. Give the order to set off." Mo Wan didn't dare to persuade her anymore and could only send the order. The general of the Alliance Army at the mouth of the wind was Elder Lu from the Fire Peak of the Sky-Killing Sect. Before he came, Mountain Master Zhao had secretly told him Yun Chujio's guess. Although Elder Lu felt that Yun Chujio's guess wasn't very reliable, he still felt uneasy. Therefore, he personally guarded the mountain peak at night to prevent the Nightmare race from ambushing him. When Elder Lu was patrolling the mountain, he heard a subordinate exclaim, "Elder Lu, look!" Elder Lu looked in the direction that the subordinate was pointing at. Under the night sky, there were countless black shadows moving. In the blink of an eye, they were already very close to the windbreak. Elder Liu's heart sank. The Yen clan had indeed launched a sneak attack. Moreover, the scale of the attack was so large. Clearly, it was just like what Leng Xiaojiu had said. The Nightmare clan had gathered almost all their forces to attack the windbreak. Elder Liu's heart was anxious, afraid, and a little angry. The targets of his anger were naturally Alliance Master Yen and the others. Leng Xiaojiu had said it clearly, but they didn't believe it. They were simply a bunch of old fools. But now, Leng Xiaojiu had led the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance to retreat, and they were the unlucky ones. However, it was useless to say all that. Elder Lu hurriedly sent his fastest subordinate to deliver a letter to Alliance Master Yen while he organized his men to stop the attack of the Nightmare race. Although he knew that they wouldn't be able to hold on for even a quarter of an hour. After all, the windbreak was easy to attack but hard to defend. Moreover, their numbers were insignificant compared to the Nightmare race's army, but for the sake of the immortal Essence continent, they still had to go all out. As expected, the Nightmare race was like a hot knife through butter. The troops guarding the windstorm vent led by Elder Lu quickly lost their ability to resist. A moment later, the Nightmare beasts and the Nightmare race's army had already climbed halfway up the windstorm vent. The Nightmare race's crown prince stood behind them. A trace of doubt flashed across his face. During the day, the windstorm vent was still guarded by Leng Xiaojiu's loose Cultivator Alliance. Why was there a change now? However, he thought about it and decided that it didn't matter. Even if that damned Leng Xiaojiu wasn't at the windstorm vent, he would be able to capture her sooner or later after the human defense line was broken through. The crown prince of the Nightmare race was quite proud. The Nightmare race had been hiding in the far west for so many years. His father had always been cautious. If it weren't for his insistence, the Nightmare race would still be curled up in the far west. Why? They were both born with the spirit of all living things. How could the human race occupy all the resources of the immortal Essence continent? Did the Nightmare race have to hide in the far west like a rat in the dark? It was unfair. The strong preyed on the weak. This was the law of all living things. The Nightmare race had to rely on their fists to take back everything that belonged to them. When the Nightmare race crown prince thought of this, the light in his eyes grew even brighter. He waved his hand. Strengthen our offensive. We will attack the windbreak within 15 minutes. Yes. The Nightmare race's offensive became increasingly fierce. Elder Lu could not hold on any longer. The logs and rolling stones that had been prepared at the top of the mountain had already been used up. Their spiritual energy attacks did not cause any substantial damage to the enormous Nightmare race army. The windbreak was in danger. At this moment, chaos suddenly broke out behind the Nightmare race army. Accompanied by the screams of the Nightmare race, the unified shouts were especially pleasing to the ears. The Alliance of Itinerant Cultivators specializes in killing the Nightmare race. Little Ninth Alliance leader, invincible in the world. Elder Liu's heart shook. Leng Xiaojiu? Didn't she run away with the Alliance of Itinerant Cultivators? How could she suddenly appear behind the Nightmare race army? Wasn't this the same as sending herself to her death? The Nightmare race's crown prince was stunned at first. Then he stood on top of a gigantic nightmare beast and looked behind him. Under the night sky, he saw a woman dressed in red standing in front of a team with a smile on her face. Her silver mask reflected a cold light. The crown prince's heart felt as if it had been pricked by something. For a moment, his heart was beating like a drum. He attributed this to the excitement of meeting his enemy. Finally, he could kill this Leng Xiaojiu. As long as he killed her, he would be able to get rid of the Nightmare Lord's worries. This Leng Xiaojiu actually took the initiative to send herself to her death. He was really stupid. Hey, the farting crown prince, come over here. I have something to say to you. He Xinjiu stood on a small mound and waved at the Nightmare Lord's crown prince. The farting crown prince? The Nightmare Lord's crown prince gritted his teeth in anger. He angrily commanded his Nightmare Lord to walk to the end of the team. Of course, the Nightmare Lord's attack on the Windbreaker had not stopped. This Leng Xiaojiu was just a piece of cake. He would be dealt with very quickly. The crown prince of the nightmare race arrived in front of Yun Chujiu and snorted coldly. Leng Xiaojiu, you sure have guts. You actually brought your men and ran to the rear of our nightmare race's army. Aren't you afraid of death? I'm not stupid. Of course I'm afraid of death. The person only has one life, so of course I have to cherish it. That's why I've always cherished my life, He Xinjiu said with a smile. The crown prince of the nightmare race snorted coldly. Humph. Since you're afraid of death, why did you run to the back of our nightmare race's army? Sigh. By the way, what's your name? I can't keep calling you the arrogant crown prince, can I? The crown prince of the nightmare race was stunned. Although he had a name, it seemed that after he was born, his name was only used very rarely. For example, during sacrificial ceremonies or various ceremonies, so much so that he almost forgot his own name. The crown prince of the nightmare race paused for a moment, but still said, AOG. AOG? TSK. This name is too difficult to pronounce. Look at how easy it is to remember my name. Little Gio, I can't forget it even if I want to. Also, my deputy chief's name is also very good. Lung Datu TSK, how down to earth. Whether it was the people from the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance or the Nightmare Race's army, the corners of everyone's mouths twitched. This Lung Little Gio's aesthetic sense was really extraordinary. A trace of stiffness flashed across the face of the Nightmare Race's crown prince, and then he said coldly, cut the crap. If you have nothing to say, then let's start the war. The Nightmare Race members behind the Nightmare Race Crown Prince. Crown Prince, are you not thinking clearly? This Leng Xiaojiu is a human. Why are you wasting your breath on her? Just quickly order them to kill her. It's like this. That AOG, we didn't get to know each other last time. I think you're quite pleasing to the eye, so I'm here to inform you. You might not know this, but we humans have already seen through your schemes, so the army will arrive soon. At that time, your nightmare race will be surrounded and annihilated by us. On account of the fact that we have known each other, I will let you live. Take your men and leave immediately. Otherwise, when the army arrives, you will be dead. Yun Chujiu said in a tone that said I'm doing this for your own good. The Nightmare Race army was instantly in an uproar. What? The humans had already known about their plan? How was this possible? AOJI's heart tightened. However, his eyes flickered a few times before he laughed coldly. Leng Xiaojiu, you are really cunning. Do you think that you can scare me away by making up such a lie? You are really too naive. If you humans know our plan, why don't you surround us now? You should know that now is the best time to attack from the inside and the outside. It just so happens that you are trying to surround us, so you are just scaring us. Io, why don't you listen to my advice? Alright, since you don't believe me, I have no choice. Then, let's start the battle. Do you want to fight alone or in a group? He Xinjiu crossed her shoulders and pouted. AOG pointed at Yun Chujiu. Let's fight alone. Today, I'll send you to hell. I'm sorry. If you want to fight one-on-one, find someone else. I'm afraid of death. After He Xinjiu said that, she slithered into the team of the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance. AOG, the Freelance Martial Artist Alliance, the Nightmare Race Army. It was the first time AOG had encountered such a rogue enemy. He gritted his teeth in anger. Go. Kill them all. Leave no one alive. The Nightmare Race Army thought to themselves that they should have done this a long time ago. Their crown prince seemed to have lost his mind. He had been flirting with that Leng Xiaojiu for almost 15 minutes. This was a battlefield. A tiny bit of time could decide the outcome of the battle. Before the Nightmare Race army could charge forward, they heard He Xinjiu say in a clear voice, My minions, the wind is strong, pull it. Then, the Nightmare Race army was stunned to see that the people of the Loose Cultivator Alliance and their chief, He Xinjiu, had run away. AOG immediately recalled what had made him gnash his teeth the last time. This Leng Xiaojiu was full of evil. Could it be that he had set up an ambush somewhere? Thus, Aog gritted his teeth. Ignore them and continue to attack the storm vent. Your Highness, the garrison at the storm vent has suddenly increased by quite a number of people, but it shouldn't exceed 5,000 people, Mo1 reported. Aog's heart sank. Was it really like what Leng Xiaojiu had said, that the human race was preparing to surround and annihilate them? No, definitely not. That Leng Xiaojiu must be spouting nonsense and stalling for time. If the human race had been prepared, why would they wait until now? Step up the offensive. We must take down the windbreaker at all costs. Yes. Just as Aog finished his instructions, He Xinjiu ran back with the alliance of itinerant cultivators. Hey, Aog, I'm not lying to you. The human army will be here soon. You'd better run with your men, or you'll be dead for sure. You look like a dog. It would be a pity if you really died. You haven't married yet, have you? If you die, won't there be no descendants? It's very pitiful just thinking about it. LG gritted his teeth in anger. However, as soon as he led his men forward, He Xinjiu used the same trick and ran away again. Aog was in a dilemma. Let's go after her. He was afraid that he would be ambushed by He Xinjiu. Let's not go after her. This guy was too infuriating. After struggling for a few times, many allied troops suddenly appeared from the south and north. The number of people on the windscreen also increased abruptly and rushed down. Boja's head buzzed. Oh no, the humans actually knew about his plan. At this moment, He Xinjiu returned once again, giggling happily. Hey, Aog, didn't I tell you just now? The allied troops are about to surround and annihilate you, but you refuse to listen. There's really no other way. Of course, the reason why I flirted with you just now was to stall for time. Otherwise, our army wouldn't be able to make it here in time. Don't you think you're stupid? Haha. His eyes were as red as blood as he said word by word, Leng Xiaojiu, I won't forgive you. Just you wait. Who doesn't know how to talk big? I advise you to save your strength. You're going to die soon. How pitiful. He Xinjiu's smile was very bright. Retreat. Although Aog wished he could cut Yunchujiu into 1,000 pieces, the most important thing now was to break out of the encirclement quickly. Otherwise, once the human race surrounded them, the nightmare race would definitely suffer heavy losses. Yunchujiu naturally would not let him escape so easily. She commanded the Loose Cultivator Alliance to go forward and stop the nightmare race army. This fellow stood at the back and stretched her neck to command. She was very confident. As a waste of the 6th level of the Ling Shen realm, it was better for her to stand at the back and command. After all, everyone had higher spiritual power than her. Soon, the coalition army joined the battle, and both sides fell into a chaotic battle. Aog's regret could be imagined. Firstly, he regretted that he had not contacted the garrison troops at the other checkpoints and should not have launched an attack rashly. Secondly, he should not have said so much nonsense to that Leng Xiaojiu just now. If it were not for the fact that he had delayed her for a long time, they might have already taken over the storm vent by now. The more Aog thought about it, the more he hated Yunchujiu to the bone. His malicious gaze was fixed on He Xinjiu, who was standing on the mound, stretching her neck and shouting. If it were not for this Leng Xiaojiu, he could have taken over the yellow mud mound last time because of her. Yunchujiu stood on the mound and felt a cold gaze. She fixed her eyes on it and bared her little white teeth. She liked the way she looked at Yunchujiu and could not get rid of her. It was fucking awesome. Aog saw Yunchujiu's fearless look and felt even more hatred in his heart. He bit his index finger and formed a seal with his hands. An old Wan, who was beside Aog, saw this and exclaimed, Your Highness! You stop. This is a forbidden spell of the Yen clan. If you use it, it will shorten your lifespan. Aog's personality was aloof and prideful. He would not listen to his dissuasion and kept waving his hands. He Xinjiu saw Aog's actions from afar. Although she did not know what secret technique Aog was using, she did not stop him from causing trouble. Who is that? Quick, stop that fart, Crown Prince. All of you attack together. Don't let him succeed. Some people from the Loose Cultivator Alliance and the Allied Army heard Yunchuji's shout and wanted to stop Aog. However, Aog was surrounded by a large number of Nightmare Race members. They had no way of getting close to him. A moment later, Aoji's eyes turned bright red like blood, and his long black hair instantly turned silver. His entire person was indescribably demonic. Yunchuji's heart jumped, and her scalp went slightly numb. This was a sign of danger. However, she felt that Aog was thousands of feet away from her, so he should not be able to do anything to her. Thus, she only increased her vigilance and did not retreat. At this moment, Aoji's figure turned into a phantom like a ghost. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind Yunchujio and knocked her out with a hand knife. Before Hei Shinjio fainted, she only had time to think of one sentence. "Fuck, this is too much. Stop, or I'll kill Leng Xiaojio," Aog said darkly while grabbing Yunchuji's neck. The people on the battlefield suddenly stopped moving. The people of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance were stunned when they saw their black-hearted alliance master fall into Aog's hands. They were quite conflicted. Logically speaking, they were all forced by Yunchujio, but after spending time together, they felt that it was not bad to follow this black-hearted alliance master. P. and a novel. After a moment of hesitation, most of the people of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance shouted, "Let our alliance master go." Alliance Master Yen had also arrived at this moment. Seeing the situation, he quickly said, "Let Leng Xiaojio go. We have something to discuss." Ask your people to make way and let our Yen clan's people pass. Otherwise, you'll have to wait to collect Leng Xiaojia's corpse. Aog said coldly. Alliance Master Yen hesitated. This was a great opportunity to annihilate the Yen clan. If they let the tiger return to the mountain, they would have to ascend to the heavens if they wanted to severely wound the Yen clan. However, putting aside the fact that Leng Xiaojio was the one who came up with this plan, just her identity as the alliance master of the unaffiliated Cultivator Alliance could not be ignored by him. What should he do? The head of the Fan family rolled his eyes, stepped forward and said, "Alliance leader, there is no need to care about trivialities in the face of righteousness. Sacrificing Leng Xiaojio alone can save the entire Immortal Essence continent. Her death is worthy of the name." Bullshit. Junior Sister Xiaojio has worked so hard for the Immortal Essence continent, yet you still want to sacrifice her? Have you fed your conscience to the dogs? Are you holding a grudge against Junior Sister Xiaojio because your son and grandson have defected? You old fart. And Lin Chuan was so angry that he stomped his feet and cursed. He had also forgotten to cover up Yunchuji's identity. However, everyone didn't have the time to think about it. After all, Leng Xiaojio was Xiaojio. The Fan family's patriarch's old face turned red from Lin Chuan's scolding. He was so angry that he was trembling. "How dare you? Even your father can't talk to me like that. I'm doing this for the people of the Immortal Yuan continent. I have a clear conscience." Mountain Master Zhuo quickly reprimanded Lin Chuan, telling him not to act rashly. And Lin Chuan was so anxious that he was about to cry. "Mountain Master Zhuo, Leng Xiaojio is Junior Sister Xiaojio. Please save her." "What? Leng Xiaojio is Yunchujio?" Mountain Master Zhuo and the others said in surprise. "It's true. Junior Sister Xiaojio could have stayed safely in the Chaos Origin sect. Why did she risk her life to come here? Wasn't it because of the Immortal Yuan continent? Wasn't it because of revenge for her fellow disciples of the Primordial Chaos sect and the Killing Yuan sect? Now that she's been captured, you can't just leave her to die." And Lin Chuan said with a sobbing tone. He understood in his heart that the reason why Yunchujio took the risk to come here was not only because of the above reasons, but also because little ninth junior sister was worried about his and Shangguan Hao's safety. Otherwise, she wouldn't have specially transferred them to her side. Although the people of the Primordial Chaos sect and the Murderous Origin sect were a little surprised, they were not too surprised. After all, This Lung Xiaojia style of doing things was too similar to Yun Chujia's bad news bag. The Primordial Chaos sect and the Murderous Origin sect occupied more than half of the Allied forces. Immediately, everyone's stance became clear. Yun Chujio must be saved. People's hearts were biased. Compared to an unfamiliar Leng Xiaojiao and a disciple of their own sect, the status of a disciple was naturally higher, even if that disciple was a bad news bag. The Fan family head was so angry that his old face was twisted. So it was that troublemaker Yun Chujio. No wonder she had been targeting the Fan family. It was really detestable. However, even though he wished that Yun Chujio would be killed by AOG, he did not dare to risk offending the Primordial Chaos sect and the Murderous sect, so he could only remain silent. Alliance Master Yen had a good impression of Yun Chujio. Now that the Primordial Chaos sect and the Murderous sect had made their stance clear, he took the opportunity to say to AOG, "I can let you go, but we have to ensure Yun Chujia's safety." AOG had heard the conversation of the human race clearly. So this stinky girl was Yun Chujio? No wonder he was fooled. AOG sneered, "Now the initiative is in my hands. Cut the crap. If you don't want her to die, quickly move aside." Alliance Master Yen gritted his teeth. Just as he was about to let everyone move aside, he heard AOG groan. Then the little girl who had fainted entered a huge bastard shell. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.